Good morning to one and all present in this meeting. I, Swastik Panda, with my group members Abhinandan, Devansh, and Pratik, are going to start a presentation on the topic an elementary school classroom in a slum. So, here is the introduction. The poem written by Stephen Spender describes the social inequalities which are prevailing in the society. In the poem, he describes the condition of the students of an elementary school which is situated in a slum area. The poet wants to draw attention of everyone towards these kids so that their life can be improved and they may get trained to become good citizens rather than criminals. Now I would like Abhinandan to tell about the author. Abhinandan, please.
The author of this poem is Sir Stephen Harold Spender, who was an essayist, poet, novelist, whose work is concentrated on the themes of social injustice and the class struggle. He was appointed as the Poet Laureate Consultant in the Poetry to the United States Library of Congress in 1965. The books by Spender include poems of dedication, Age of Being, The Creative Element, The Struggle of Modern, and an autobiography, World Within the World. In this poem, Spender expressed his ideological positions on government, economics, and education. He depicts the pathetic life of slum children who are victims of government's apathy. Now I would like to ask Pratik to say the central theme of the poem.
Thank you, Abhinandan. The central theme of the poem deals with the paradox of teaching elementary school children in a slum. Spender very strongly believes that you cannot hope to provide education to the children who are poor and hungry. A feeling of hopelessness coupled with the actual lack of a bright future suggests that the very purpose of educating these children has been defeated. It is the poet's belief that only solution is to break down the slum and let the children run free on gold sands and to let their tongues run naked into books, the white and green leaves. What Spender means is that it is only after the policymakers have addressed the problem of poverty and its attendant problems like malnourishment and inherited diseases that you can hope to provide an education that is empowering in the true sense. Now I would like a Swastik to explain the first stanza. Swastik, please.
Thank you, Pratik. So, here is the first stanza of the poem. The poem begins with a description of the children sitting in a school classroom which is located in a slum. The poet has compared these children to the rootless weeds as they are not given any importance by any member of the society. They are unwanted like the rootless weeds or useless plants. Their faces are pale and untidy hair fall all over their faces. Then the poet describes a few children sitting in the classroom. There is a tall girl who sits with her head down due to poverty or some affliction. She seems to be in a depressed state. There is a boy who is very thin and has eyes which bulge out like that of a rat. His physical appearance clearly depicts that he is undernourished and his eyes seem to be in search of food, similar to that what a rat looks for always. There is one more boy who is unlucky, as he had inherited a gnarled bone disease from his father. His physical growth is stunted, and he recites his lesson from his desk as he cannot stand. Another boy is seated at the back of the dull and dim lit room. Also, there is a sweet boy who is not attentive to the class. Rather, he is daydreaming about the outside world, where a squirrel is playing in the hollow of a tree, which is contrasting to his own life. He also wants to play and move out like a squirrel, but he can't do so. Now I would like Pratik to explain about the second stanza. Pratik, please.
Thank you, Swastik. The poet then proceeds to give a detailed description of the classroom, which has sour cream walls. They are dirty and yellow and are unpleasant to look at. There is a picture of Shakespeare's head on the wall. Apart from this, a cloudless sky at dawn, the domes of buildings, the beautiful scene of the Tyrolese Valley with its beautiful flowers and bells are all painted on the walls. However, these things have no meaning for the slum children. Open-handed maps have also been drawn on the walls of the classroom, but they are of no use as their area has not been shown in it. This map does not have their world in it. Their world is foggy, dull, and bleak. There is no ray of hope in it. Their life has no future, and they live a life of uncertainty. They are doomed to live in narrow streets with dull, leaden sky. Rivers, caves, and stars are natural beauties, but for these children, they represent a world which has no meaning for them. Now, I would like Abhinandan to explain the third stanza. Abhinandan, please.
So the poet in the third stanza calls the portrait of Shakespeare wicked because it is meaningless for the children going to a slum school. There is no quality education in the schools, and the children here will never learn about the Shakespeare's work. The map is also a bad example because for these children, their classroom is the whole world for them. There is no world beyond their poverty, hunger, and hopelessness. So these maps are unreal for these children. The beautiful world with its offering like sun, sheeps, love, and care only tempt them to steal because they cannot have all these worldly things. They live in cramped holes like hotments. There is no end of their misery. There is a perpetual state of gloom, hunger, and despair. Their bodies look like garbage heaps. They are very skinny, and their bones are peeping out of their skin. The state of being poverty is intensified by the fact that the glasses which these children wear are cracked and look like broken pieces of bottle. All of their life is being destroyed here in the slum. The slum is like a blot as big as a doom on the maps of these children. Now I would like to ask Swastik to explain.
Thank you, Abhinandan. Here is the fourth stanza of the poem. The poet further moves on saying that these miserable condition of the slum will continue unless some governor, inspector, or visitor visits this place and tries to improve the conditions of the classroom in a slum. The windows of the classroom symbolize the environment of the slums, which blocks the progress of the slum children. They should not be bound to live in these places, which are like catacombs. Let these children go out and face the world. Let them see the green fields, which are a sign of prosperity. Let them lead a life of freedom represented by golden sands. Give them the opportunity to express themselves freely because only those people make and create history who fight for a cause and are able to overcome their surroundings. The slum children should also be given an opportunity of being memorable. Here is a collage of the reality what slum children face every day, but we are unable to see them as we are laden with all the luxury in our life. At last, the conclusion. To conclude, an elementary school classroom in a slum summary tells us about the poor condition of the students. The schools are very poor in conditions. The future of these kids is in dark. This story also teaches us the value of education and the value of all the things that we have and many do not. Thank you. This was all about our presentation. We also want to thank our special mentor cum teacher, Ms. Kalyani Panda.
Thank you, children. Which part was of Devan's last part?
Fourth stanza.
Fourth stanza was of Devan's. Okay. What he told? He would not join.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am actually is not interested when also we are telling him to do rehearsal at our homes. He is not interested. He's
Acha,
telling that he is sick.
Acha, okay. No problem. Children, now switch on your videos. It was a nice presentation. The people just adjusted each part also. So it is really commendable. Switch on your videos to answer the questions.
Ma'am, actually we are doing from our PC, so video option is not available.
Abhinandan.
Yes, ma'am. I have logged into PC, so no webcam.
Acha. Okay. Just tell me, why is Shakespeare called wicked?
Ma'am, Shakespeare is called as wicked because for slum children, it has no meaning. Shakespeare is weak because Shakespeare and his works are of no use to the slum children. So they always find bad qualities in everyone. So even for them, Shakespeare is useless. They don't understand the importance of education actually.
Okay. Anybody else wants to highlight on it? Why is the map a bad example?
Ma'am, the poet
And
calls
the
map. Ma'am, map is a bad example because the map does not hold any place for these children, and these children live in the cramped houses in narrow lane and never seen the clear sky as there is pollution day and night. So they can just aspire to be there but can't live there. There is no means to go to that world. So these are just temptation to the children, and they may commit the crimes like stealing. So poet calls map is a bad example.
Very nice, Abhinandan. I am very happy to listen to you, Abhinandan. All the time you remain so silent. Okay. You are speaking so nicely. I am happy for you. Can you tell me where the simile has been used in the poem? Can you locate the places? Identify the exact lines where simile has been used by the poet.
ma'am, like rootless weeds. Ma'am, another is ma'am, like bottle beads on stones.
Yes.
Ma'am, ma'am, another is like lives in catacombs.
Okay. What is the total line, that catacomb line? How can you explain like rootless weeds? What things have been compared in this line?
Ma'am, the slum children have been compared to the rootless weeds as they are considered unwanted by the society. Ma'am, like the rootless weeds signify, for example, in a field, the weeds are considered unwanted because they suck all the nutrients of other plants. So um, they are uprooted by the farmers because they have no productivity, or they uh, have no they don't add any financial value to the crop. That's why
Uh,
in similar way the slum children are compared as rootless weeds, as
do you have the text with you right now?
no ma'am,
Book is not there.
no ma'am.
Exactly what is compared? You have given an overall idea that the slum children have been compared with the rootless weeds. But what is compared? Just see the text and tell me what is
Okay, ma'am.
compared. Read the line.
Ma'am, like rootless weeds, they're far, far from gusty waves. These children faces like rootless weeds. The hair turned round their color. Ma'am, here they are compared to as rootless weeds because they are not given any importance by any member of the society. They
See
are
the
considered
second
just as unwanted.
Ma'am, they
Let
are
us see.
unwanted by the rich world outside their slum.
No, you see the second line. Like rootless weeds, the hair turn round their pallor. That is the total sentence. What things are compared here in the second line? Rootless weeds have been compared with what here? The hair turn around their pallor.
Ma'am,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. Their faces are pale and untidy all around.
No, faces, that is there in the first line, you forget about it. Second line, I am very particular about this comparison here. The comparison is not with the slum children. It is particularly about the hair that turn around their pallor. That means on their pale face, the hair has been scattered. They have not combed it nicely. The hair is unkempt here, and as unkempt hair, it has been scattered all over their pale faces, just like rootless weeds. If weeds have no root, they will be scattered in a field. If the weeds are rootless, because roots actually hold the weeds with the ground. The weeds are attached to the ground because of the roots. But when the weeds are rootless, when they have no foundation, then they will be scattered along with the blow of wind. Similarly, the hair is being scattered over their pale faces. That is the comparison. Every
Okay, ma'am.
time you have to be very particular about this comparison, because I have seen many children comparing these rootless weeds with slum children themselves. That can be a broader idea, but specifically the comparison is like this only. Okay. Now my next question, I would like to listen it from either Pratik or Abhinandan. Can you explain me the slag heap? What is that?
Ma'am, actually, the slag heap represents the wastage or uh, the garbage that is remained when the metal is extracted from the ore. So the children here are compared to a slag heap because no, actually the slum here is compared to a slag heap.
Slag heap means refers to the body of each child of the slum. They are like wastage of educated world dumped in garbage.
Very nice. Okay. Thank you, children. It was a nice presentation.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
all. Okay.